You're listening to Ben and Scott's podcast, Getting Gripped.
Welcome to Getting Gripped with Ben and Scott. I'm Ben.
And I'm Scott.
And we have a podcast where we talk about whatever we want. And while you're not looking, we're gripping this. We haven't done one of these.
Yeah, it's been too long. To all of our loyal fans, I think it's just one person. Maybe two. I don't know. We thank you for your patience, and we're glad to be back. We have a lot of Alan Wake stuff to talk about.
There's a good amount of Alan Wake stuff, especially because Scott hasn't played the final draft until recently.
This is true.
So he's got double, actually probably triple, because I don't know.
Triple.
Did you do the other DLC?
No, I did I did all the DLC. I did Final Draft, Night Springs, and Lake House all recently for the first time.
Okay. Well, on this YouTube channel, I did do a review of the DLC.
Oh, I didn't finish the whole thing because I was avoiding spoilers before.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Check it out. I don't think it's anything too crazy, but why don't we get into the nitty gritty, Scott? First off, before we really get into the nitty gritty, any special announcements? Anything you want to share?
Nope, not that I could think of.
Okay.
We don't have like events. We're not like an established YouTube channel or anything.
We're going to be having a show in Comic-Con 20 years from now.
We'll see it at 29.
I have some fun news. Noah, my daughter, tinkled in the toilet today.
Whoa, potty training, dude.
You know what's fun? She's kind of young to do this, but she's had an interest in trying for a bit. So we decided to just get a little potty training seat on top of the toilet. And today she told Rachel, my wife, ouchie tinkle, ouchie potty. And Rachel took her there and she peed in the toilet.
Dude.
And I think she said ouchie just because she recognized like the need to pee.
It's like a sense. Yeah, it's like an alert.
I don't think she was really hurting, but
gotcha.
We were very proud of her. And she did pee in her diaper the rest of the day. But it's a good step.
Big step. I think what I've heard about the nightmares of potty training is like if they got an interest or if they want to do it, you full send it. Like you take advantage of that desire.
Yes, and I think that's what we're trying to do now. So our next step was buying little underwear for her so she can know what it feels like to have wet underwear. I'm like, that's not
the rite of passage.
Nice.
You got to know.
Okay, so let's jump into this. Scott, you did Final Draft.
Yes.
What did you think?
I thought it was great. So what I did is I delayed, just for anybody not knowing my history of the Alan Wake. Loved the game. I played it right when it came out. I beat it. When all the DLCs came out, including the DLC or the New Game Plus mode, I postponed until they were all out. And so just recently, in one playthrough, I played the Final Draft, each of the Night Springs episodes, and the Lake House DLC organically in game as they become available as part of the main quest. And it made Alan Wake so much better. Like it added a lot more variety. It added some, I don't know, man. Like it was good. It was really good. I like them all. That's my short review. It was great.
I did not know they were going to be adding the DLC into the main story. Like you could play it, which I think is creative, and it really has a good incentive of playing Final Draft. I was in a different position where I was like, I got to do it right as it comes out. I want to know all the stories. So I wish that it would have been more like your experience. I think it would have made Final Draft even more fun. But outside of just the DLCs, they came out with some quality of life updates. So like if you wanted to play the game where every enemy could be shot in one shot, you can.
Oh, nice.
They just, which I think I might try to do that because I just think it's fun. One of my favorite things to do, and I'm sure you agree, is just explore what they have without feeling threatened. It's a beautiful game to just look at everything. So to go into it without the threat feeling could be really fun. So can we talk about Final Draft real quick? Because I've been wanting to talk to you about it.
Let's do it in order. Let's do Final Draft first, and then let's go to Night Springs, and then Lake House.
Okay, perfect. So the ending. Did you feel like it was worth another playthrough to get to that ending?
I would say yes. I think because here's my take on it. I feel like the Final Draft ending. Sorry. The normal Alan Wake ending without the Final Draft ending, I feel like isn't an ending. It ends on a really big cliffhanger. it is, whoa, what's happening? Like, are they trapped in the dark place? Did their scheme work? And you walk away from the game going, well, we don't know. It's a spiral. That's all we get, right? But
Very similar to the first game.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I disagree because at the end of the first game, you still get that resolution of like, I saved Alice. Like it worked. I saved the person that was in trouble. Whereas just the base ending, you don't know if you saved, I guess, Logan, the main character.
Okay. I guess you could argue that like that storyline wasn't finished, but you did know that the darkness did leave Alex Casey.
True. Yes.
So
you do know that.
It had some ending there, but I agree. Like it definitely had an incentive to really figure out what the true ending was.
And then, yeah. So, and then when you play the final draft ending, it's not like way longer. It doesn't add too much, but it does tie up the main loose ending of like that like emotional moment that, you know, is built up in that scene, which is the daughter of Saga. So
yes.
yeah,
Very relieving.
I thought they did it pretty good. And
She's
I also
alive.
liked seeing Thor and Odin in the dark place in the final draft. I thought that was a nice touch because like I just remember at the end of the base game, pretty much everyone is in the dark place. Like everyone, most main characters are in the dark place, like stuck. And it's like,
True.
how does this work out? And seeing Thor and Odin there of their own volition, like to help, made me feel a little better.
It is cool to see them in there. And did you know too? Like they a lot of people missed seeing Thor and Odin there because they just ran past them.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I saw him.
And then Alan, Champion of Light and Herald of Darkness. He is the master of many worlds, I believe he says.
Yeah, that was a trip because they bring that up in Night Springs as well in the Tim Breaker episode. That's where I first heard the term, and then Alan Wake says it in the outro of the final draft, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, Master of Many Worlds, interesting."
That's interesting. That they kind of spoil it for you earlier on.
Maybe I was like, because they don't give you any explanation as to like what it is when you're doing the Tim Breaker episode. It's just like, oh, that's an interesting idea, but I don't know. I thought it was fine. It's just a nice call. Yeah, it wasn't unexecuted well. So
we know that they're getting out of the dark place. You see Ati's bucket at the end. It seems like he's going to get them out of the door. And this
Ati
may be
God?
He's some sort of god. I've done some like little research. I think he's kind of based off of some sort of Nordic god or Finnish god.
Okay.
I think that's Finnish god. So they're getting out, and maybe that's where they're going to meet Jesse and really get into this.
Oh, word. I was like, Jesse? Who's Jesse?
Okay, so let's talk about the Night Springs DLC. Some of the story elements.
Yeah.
I kind of talked about it in my video, but let's get your perspective.
Yeah, my take on it is the first two episodes are fun, but ultimately meaningless to the plot. Like, really didn't add anything to the actual like canon that is the Alan Wake rabbit hole. And my favorite out of the three was Roses, just because it's the funnest. You have like a infinite ammo shotgun, and it's super fun, and the writing is super duper clever. So Rose is my favorite. I loved all the funniness of that episode. Jesse's was fun. It was okay. I think it was like a mid-level one. It's good. And then Tim Breaker's was really good because I feel like it actually had stake in the canon of Alan Wake, and they introduced. Okay, actually, I have divisive feelings about this because they made it into a multiverse thing, Alan Wake, and I am sick and tired of multiverses. Everyone needs to shut up about the multiverse. Like, just have one reality. We don't need multiple Spider-Man. We don't need multiple DC, Flash, everyone this, Rick and Morty, everything everywhere all at once. We don't need multiple Alan Wake characters or Tim Breakers. Let's just have like one coherent story. There's my soapbox.
To my understanding, these are just all of Alan's attempts to escape the dark place. I thought that's what it was.
That wasn't my understanding, just because like Mr. Door seems to be behind everything, and he's like exploring all of these multiple realities. But
you're right.
I also hope you're right, because I'm tired of.
My gut says it's not going to be a multiversal story. I don't know how canonized these stories are of Night Springs, but I do think there's probably some truth to it. I don't. I hope it's not a multiversal thing too. I think it just makes the story even more needlessly complicated.
Word.
But I thought it was interesting what order you put in your favorites because mine's kind of reversed what you said. Tim
Really?
Breakers was my favorite.
Okay.
Time Breaker, I think, is what it was called.
Oh, a Timebreaker, yeah.
And then Jesse's, which was Coffee World. I don't remember what that one was called either.
Yeah, something to do about coffee brainwashing.
And then Roses. Those were in my order, and I loved all of them.
Yeah.
But Tim Breakers, I loved the gameplay of it. I liked the horror aspect. The black and white level was really cool. I thought it was just a really cool design.
Oh, the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My order of favorite would be Rose, Tim Breaker, then Jesse's. And Tim Breakers was probably the most interesting Time Breaker because you play all these different genres of video game. Like I don't know, when that text thing came up and you're like
The choose your own adventure thing, that was really cool.
I love that. That was great.
What kind of story did you choose? Because I kind of chose the path of he decides to leave and stay with his love, who I think is like Jesse Faden. I think they're kind of building up to this like Tim Breaker, Jesse Faden love story in the next few games, potentially. And then her finding out that you are a time traveler and blah, blah, blah. This guy's hunting you down.
Huh. So is there multiple like endings? Multiple paths?
There are so many paths. There's a lot.
I didn't know that. I just chose whatever I chose.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options and different stories that will go down. It's actually really cool. I was surprised how in depth that whole section is because it's like 5 minutes.
Wow, that's a trip. Okay, I might have to replay that just because. So I think Night Springs overall was good. I wanted like more. I wanted each episode to like last longer, but like the DLC, any DLC is just supposed to give you more fun, like more of the main game, and like they delivered. You know, you had a weird rehash of like familiar levels and familiar characters, and just like more gameplay and more wacky story, which was good.
Rumor has that there's going to be 2 other DLCs in Night Springs. Like 2 other episodes in Night Springs. There was going to. I think they're done. They are not making anything more for Alan Wake. They are done with it. Gotcha. For Alan Wake 2, I have. Sure. But there was going to be an Alex Casey one, but the voice actor for Alex Casey passed away, and I don't think they felt comfortable pursuing that anymore. And I think there was going to be an Estevez Night Springs episode.
Oh, okay.
But I think they may have focused.
Got her own DLC.
She did get her own DLC, which is probably a good segue to talk about that. The Lake House.
Yeah, man. Okay, you first this time. What did you think? What did you think of the Lake House?
I thought it was so cool to go into a kind of like control environment again, but with Alan Wake graphics and horror. Yeah. It was really cool. Yes. Estevez is also a likable character. She's cool. Mm-hmm. It was cool to get a little bit more of her perspective. She's a bad A. And I loved the direction they took this. Like, I guess even like the message they were trying to send. Remedy is very into art and creativity. And this episode kind of focuses on like what happens when you push art to like an artist too far and even like bring in AI.
Yes.
And I thought that is, I wasn't expecting them to go that route, but as a creative myself, I really appreciated this conversation in a video game.
Yeah. Well said.
Okay. So if I was to like do a quick premise, spoilers ahead, Estevez is going to investigate the lake house because they have not been responding for a bit. And there's just been some pretty heavy AWE activity in Bright Falls, Cauldron Lake. And so she goes in by herself and everyone's gone. It's pretty much like abandoned. You're seeing these things just like experiment in progress. She's like, oh, that's probably not good. And she has to go through back and forth through the floors to kind of piece together why this place is kind of shut down and everybody's turning to take in, and there's paintings that are coming alive and trying to kill her. And you end up finding out it's because the people who owned it, I can't remember how to say their last names, like Marmont or something.
Oh, the Marmonts. Yeah.
Marmonts. Yeah. They were a husband and wife duo who ran the lake house for the FBC. And they kind of took a lot of matters into their own hands and started kind of like, I think, getting taken by the darkness, by the whatever comes out of Cauldron Lake and hating each other and pitting the teams against one another and pushing this painter too far, trying to get AI to imitate Alan Wake's writing so it reacted to the Cauldron Lake special powers and stuff, and it did not go well. And Estevez
No,
pretty
it
much
did
solves
not.
that problem. She fixes whatever was going on there, but that's the DLC in a nutshell.
Maybe I should replay that. I really liked it.
I totally missed one of the things you sent me. You texted me one of the documents that you found. It had a website link that you checked out. Could you go into that? I don't really know what that's all about.
Yeah, it was really trippy. I don't know if you remember like blogging days, but like for example, my sister I'm this is like 2000, I don't know, like 8, 2009, 2010, 2011. That's kind of like when like writing your own blog and like picture blogs was kind of popular. And so I found this while I was playing the Lake House, you find this document and there's a link on the document and I'm like, is that an actually workable website? And so I punch it into my phone and sure enough it is, and it's back to one of these like 2009 looking blog spot, just someone's personal blog talking about stuff, but it's a character created by Remedy and it's in this world. And what I gathered from it is that it's someone in the town of Ordinary, which is the hometown of Jesse Faden, and they find a shoebox underneath their house for some reason, and a lot of poems and random photos make their way, like they appear in this shoebox. And so the majority of like the different links you can like click around is just looking at these different poems and these different like weird pictures that all loosely have to do with like Thomas Zane and Bright Falls and Cauldron Lake. No, there's no really like big reveals that like explains everything for any like main game canon people. But it's cool. They like they kind of made a little ARG thing for Alan Wake, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm. I think the only really big reveal in this was Dylan Faden makes an appearance in this DLC, and
Oh yeah,
I think it's supposed to be kind of like a precursor to Control 2.
it looked like a teaser trailer to Control 2. That's like
So
what you get.
yeah, I think that was like the main purpose of this DLC was to get us hyped for the future of Remedy projects. And that's pretty much it. I thought the gameplay was really cool. I loved being the environments are really cool. I agree with you. You texted me this. I wish it was longer.
Yeah.
They were all very short.
My only critiques of the Lake House DLC were it was too long. Or sorry, not too long. It wasn't long enough. It was too short. The opposite. And in my like they added one enemy type, which was the painted, but like and that was it. All of the like your combat scenarios, it's mainly taken people, which you've already fought a lot in Alan. So it's like great because you get more different scenarios, but like I wanted more like newness to the DLC, like gameplay wise, and there wasn't much gameplay wise of newness, which was kind of
Yeah.
but
I know they did some updates after I played the DLC, but like there was hardly any ammo anywhere or like health packs. Like,
oh really?
well, for me, yeah, I couldn't find anything. So like I was using that rocket thing that you get. I ran out of ammo for it.
Oh, I must have. By the time I got to the lake house, it must have been after those updates because yeah.
Well, you
I
beat the
always
lake
need
house
ammo.
before me, didn't you?
Did I?
I thought so.
actually don't remember.
Well, anywho,
Maybe I'm just better.
maybe you're just well, you are very good at video games. That's true. But it was good. I'm very pleased with the content that they put out, and I'm very excited. I'm sad that it's over. They gave us a new cosmetic for Alan, so that it's a good excuse to go through the game again.
Good time. It's a good time. I have one Alan Wake in general opinion that I want to know if you agree with me on.
All right.
I haven't played a lot of horror games, but the main other, like, I guess, horror game I've been really a big fan of was The Last of Us, both of them. And I just recently, and like, The Last of Us gameplay wise is like night and day different from Alan Wake. Because like The Last of Us, you can do headshots and it'll kill people in one hit. In The Last of Us, there's stealth and like you sneak around people and like doing a melee hit like actually affects them. Whereas in Alan Wake, there's I don't know if you can play this way, but there's like no stealth. It's just you run into enemies and then you fight them. And they're like sponges. They take like a million shots to hit, like no matter where you hit them, is what it feels like. And I just played for the first time the Resident Evil 2 remake. And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like Alan Wake. Like this is the same. Each zombie, you hit them in the head like 5 times, then they'll die. They can't get one shot. You're very slow. You're not fast. You can't sprint. And you're like finding these items to help you get from point A to point B. Anyway, what are your thoughts? Gameplay wise, would you compare it to Resident Evil?
Yes, 100%. I do think Resident Evil 4 remake, which is my experience with Resident Evil, is I feel like a little bit more accurate to like, oh, I'm going to shoot like here. Headshots are different and other stuff like that. And then you have Dead Space. The Dead Space remake is also very similar. The gameplay is different in each one. Like in that one, you have to like hit the limbs of the zombie aliens in order to defeat them. And Alan's gimmick is the flashlight. But it's, horror games. I do think that they want you to feel, you have to kind of embrace it. You can't hide very well.
And I was actually scared playing Resident Evil 2 because it's like I can't just win if I'm good. Like you have to just like run past zombies because you run out of ammo. Like one zombie will take up all your ammo, and it's so frustrating.
Yes, you got to play Resident Evil 4 remake.
I've heard the stories.
You also got to play Dead Space remake. Did you download it?
No, I haven't yet.
If it's still,
I'm a little conflicted just because like I already know all the plot. And like it looks scary.
Yeah, that one's scary. But it's fun to feel brave.
True.
It's fun to like face the fears head on. Out of all those 3, Alan Wake is definitely the least scary of those ones.
Word.
But Resident Evil 4 though is hilarious.
Say that again?
It's Resident Evil 4. The writing is so funny. I think like it's worth the scariness because you just laugh at whatever Leon Kennedy says because they just wrote him to be so bad. It's just like. For example,
like
one of
campy?
the first yes, exactly. One of the first scenes in the game, you're fighting these zombie people and the church bell rings and they all start walking towards the bell. And Leon, he's just fought like tooth and nail for his life here. And as the zombies are walking away towards the church bell, he goes, "Where's everybody going? Bingo." It's just so funny.
What even is that?
I think it's worth a play. You were going to say something funny.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say I don't think I have too much else to say about the Lake House. Like I thought it was good DLC. I wanted more of it, but I don't think we're gonna get like much more Alan Wake until Alan Wake 3, even if that's been greenlit. I know they didn't make a lot of money with Alan Wake, so I don't know.
I think it is greenlit because they've already partnered with other companies to make TV shows. They've already partnered with companies to make movies. And they're making the Firebreakers. Control 2's already in place. So I think everything's going to come. And I think they've already confirmed that Alan Wake 3 is going to come out. And something that I've read in like the Reddit threads about Alan Wake is like, okay, if it hasn't made like a ton of money, but the thing that Remedy does is they continue to make money over time, whereas other games kind of die in popularity.
Oh, sure.
So it's worth the investment. They definitely have companies behind them that believe in what they're making. And I think it'll go down in history as like something that's going to be timeless. So,
dude, you're not wrong. Like replaying it again, I was just like, man, this feels so fresh. Like the ideas in here, all of the overlaps, and then you get the multiple playing thing. And then the idea of you find these papers that have this plot of what you're playing. I don't know, man. I think it's just super dope. Hey, you got the physical edition.
And there's going to be a physical now there's physical copies. So the people that didn't get the game before because they're like, I don't know, I don't believe in digital. They have the physical one now. And
stop complaining.
Firebreakers is coming out. That might be their answer to like get more people into like, oh, people like playing multiplayer games. We'll make one.
Word.
So you and I are going to play that when it comes out.
Heck yeah, dude. That'll be freaking dope. And I hope it gets more people interested in Control because like people like, how do I put it? I think it's underrated. Like, I don't think enough people are talking about it. And I need to qualify that. I think it is accurately rated because it got like 1 million awards. So like people, it is highly rated, but I don't hear like people talking about it. I'm like, dude, Control, like Ashtray Maze, bro. come on, this game is incredible. What are you doing? Anyway,
It's very good. It's huge too. I wish Alan Wake 2 had a little bit more of that like scale, if that makes sense.
it feels a little more open worldy, whereas Alan Wake feels
Mhm.
pretty, linear. And then once you do that level, there's not too much reason to go back.
There's a lot of cool
That's not fair.
collectibles. I liked solving all the poems. I liked solving all the cult stashes. They made it so tedious going from point A to point B. That was rough,
That was rough. Oh,
but it
and
was
I
still
will
fun.
say, on my second playthrough, I was able to get all of the deers this time around. I didn't get all the deer heads the first time around.
Did you go to the hotel room to see your
Mhm.
reward?
Of course.
I thought it was a little anticlimactic. I wish there was like another story element that was added there.
Yeah, at least like a manuscript page. But I was playing in hard difficulty, so I wasn't mad getting all that ammo and stuff. So,
Yeah, that's true. Right before the big finale. Well,
um,
Scott, yeah, I
yeah,
think, and we also have 6 minutes left of this Zoom call.
word.
But
Well,
what a pleasure! What a pleasure!
always a pleasure.
We're done with the podcast. Goodbye, everybody. It's been a pleasure.
Doodles.